Welcome to the Premadasa Stadium here in Colombo on a beautiful sunny day with plenty of blue sky around and just a slight breeze blowing across the ground. This then is the venue for the first test match between Sri Lanka and India. The Sri Lankans of late have been unbeatable in the one-day version of the game where of course they are the world champions. But this is the real stuff. This is 5-day test match cricket and the Sri Lankans would like to improve on their previous record. As far as the Indians are concerned, well, they took a hammering in the recently concluded Asia Cup, and they'd like to come out and settle a score. Talking about settling a score, the pitch will play an all-important role. So let's go out to the centre now and join that great Australian batsman of the past, Greg Chappell, who's ready with his pitch report.
Thank you, Ravi. Yes, the pitch is going to be very important here today. What we've got is a very hard and level surface, but not a great deal of grass on the pitch here at Premadasa Stadium this morning. I think what we're going to see is a pitch without a great deal of bounce and without a great deal of pace. So it's going to be hard work for the bowlers, particularly once the shine has gone off the ball. And as the game goes on, the spinners are going to get a little bit of turn. But it's going to be a test match for the batsmen, but they're going to have to be patient. It's going to be a low, slow pitch. I would say under the conditions, a very hot and humid day, that the captain who wins the toss today is going to want to bat first.
So Greg Chappell there telling us what he thinks about the pitch. I think it's time now to go out and find out what the captains think about it. And let's join Tony Cozier now, who's with the two captains for the toss.
We're here ready for the toss. Sachin Tendulkar in his 13th Test match as captain and Arjuna Ranatunga in his 43rd. John Reid, the ICC match referee. And Arjuna Ranatunga goes up with the toss. And it's tails. So you've won the toss. I think it's rather predictable, Sachin, that you would have batted on this.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like a good track to bat on. And another reason is we're playing three spinners. So I think we'd like to give chance to spinners to bowl in the fourth innings.
You've made a few changes since the one-day internationals.
That's right. There have been 4 changes, but only three of them are playing. Vinod Kambli, he's been left out. So, hoping to have a good match.
Well, all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
Arjuna, well, hard luck for you this time. It looks a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, but we still feel that there's slight damp on the wicket, and if we can capitalize on that and try and take 2 or 3 early wickets, I think we are on the game.
You come into this match with a tremendous record in the one-day internationals, especially against India. Do you think that that's of any significance?
Yeah, but this is a totally different ball game, and we have included a young new player, the first test for him, a 19-year-old boy. So Hashan is out with a broken arm. So we had to play really hard to win a test match. So the boys are very keen to come out and do well.
Well, all the best, Arjuna.
Thanks.
So there it is then, Sachin Tendulkar winning the toss and choosing to bat.
So the Indian team for today, very strong batting lineup. Navjot Sidhu, Mongia opening the batting with him. Dravid, Tendulkar, Ganguly, Azharuddin, Anil Kumble, Kulkarni playing his first test match. Rajesh Chavan back in the side, Kuruvilla and Prasad. The Sri Lankans, a terrific batting lineup. Jayasuriya, Atapattu, Mahanama, De Silva, Ranatunga, and a lot of bowling as well. Here was bowling the first ball for Sri Lanka. And it's time now to go up to the commentary box position.
Thank you, Ravi. And the Indian opening batsman. There's Nayan Mongia, the wicketkeeper. Not a regular opening batsman, but it was as an opening batsman that he made his highest score in Test cricket, that 154 against Australia in Delhi last year, and now being put back into the position and taking the first ball, as you saw just now. So India on the way with 2 runs here to Sidhu. There's no third man, so that'll go for the first boundary of the innings. Just stared down between the third slip and gully, and Sidhu just easily picking that up for 4.
That shot really showing how well this pitch is playing. The ball coming on, a little bit of bounce as well. Sidhu getting behind it, the outside edge, and into that gap between third slip and gully. Sidhu just turning the face a bit and the ball racing down into that open third man boundary.
Sliced away past Gully, really hit that one pretty hard. May not have gone exactly where he wanted in terms of points on the compass, but it certainly went to the boundary, and that's where he wanted it. So Sidhu's second boundary.
Sidhu continuing getting a thick edge that time. A lot of bat, and as a result of it, the ball going wide of third slip.
As it does now. Lovely shot up the legs, goes all the way, so that's his third boundary. And India now pushing on to 18 without loss.
Beautifully turned away by Sidhu, with once again Pushpa Kumara straying away, getting that ball to slide down on the onside. Sidhu riding with it and penning it perfectly square of the wicket down to the boundary.
And straight away, when he pitches it up, gets a little bit of movement. That's what he should be looking to do.
On a hot, humid morning, there may be a bit of movement in the air. Keep it right up there. See him making Sidhu fetch at that one. So Voice has the ability to take the ball away from the right-hander. And on this wicket, that's what he should be looking to do.
Navjot Sidhu got a double 100 in the West Indies. He's a kind of player who like this kind of a pitch. Very difficult man to dislodge once he gets in.
A try for short on that occasion, giving Sidhu enough room. Good bit of fielding by skipper Ranatunga, getting down quickly.
Yes, he's a specialist in that gully position. Even though he's a big man, he anticipates shots very well. And that's punched away through extra cover. Lovely shot by Sidhu.
Over pitched by Jayawardene at that time, and Sidhu taking full advantage of the getting the gap between mid-off and extra cover. Full face of the bat right through with it, straight down to the extra cover boundary. As Ravi was saying, you got to keep it up, but that was slightly over pitched. And 4 runs to Sidhu.
As he's a good player of spin, powerful striker of the ball. Seems to be in particularly good nick when Sri Lanka went out there for a short series. In the West Indies, he was consistent even against Pakistan. He did a very good job. And Sidhu loves coming down the track and makes no mistake this time. Gives Muralidharan the charge and hits him wide of long on for 6. So good over that for India. 34 for no loss. So this is the shot from Sidhu in the last over.
Sidhu, who takes the attack onto Muralidharan, loves coming down the wicket, charging him, getting right on top of it, and over the long on area for 6. Confident stroke. So he's on the attack straight away with Muralidharan.
Yes, if Muralidharan continues to have men in the circle, Sidhu is going to take his chances. He backs himself when he wants to play the ball in the air over the infield. In the air and taken. No problem at third slip. Mahela Jayawardene there making absolutely no mistake. And Mongia dragged into the shot from Pushpa Kumara, and he loses his wicket.
Mungia not getting right on the pitch of that one. That ball wide, not up to the drive really, and sort of slightly wide away from them. Held back a bit on the wicket, didn't come on as much as Mungia would have expected it to come on. And a sharp catch to Mahela. So the Indians lose their first wicket at 36 of Nayan Mongia.
This is how Mongia was dismissed.
Pushpa Kumara keeping that line, keeping the length, using the new ball to good effect, keeping the movement going by keeping the fuller length. And then Mongia erring on that occasion, playing slightly wide of him. And success for Sri Lanka.
This time he's down the ground and he's decided to go over the offside, and that's good, intelligent batting from Sidhu. He's not going to be dictated to. He's going to take it to Muralitharan, and that's 4 more to finish the over. India 46 for 1.
And here we see Sidhu right down the wicket, full flow of the bat. And there's a man out on the onside, 2 in fact, and he's gone over the offside. So, as Greg said, good intelligent batting, just 6 off the over, and that was it.
And there's one of the first aggressive shots we've seen against Pushpa Kumara for a while. Sidhu strokes it away on the offside.
Yes, just a little bit too short from Pushpa Kumara. And this shot will bring up the 50. Just short and wide, and Sidhu plenty of time. Not really great footwork. He didn't get the back foot across, but it's slow enough and he's seeing it well enough to squeeze it through the offside. India 51 for 1.
This time it's too short. He's just tiring now. Pushpa Kumara just straining to get the ball on the right line, trying to bowl a bit quicker, and that's where he's making his error. He's really mixed up his line and his length this over. I think what we're going to see is basically pretty short spells from the fast bowlers. It really is quite hot and draining with the humidity here, and I think Pushpa Kumara has perhaps been used for 1 too many.
Yes, I think we'll see this one just an attempted bounce that really didn't get up. I think he is tired, and I understand Arjuna Ranatunga trying to get as much out of the new ball as he can, but on this particular occasion, you're probably right, Greg, 1 over too many.
This time he's wide again, but Aravinda de Silva has a go at the bowler's end, probably a bit ambitious. Prevents any run, but I don't think Dravid was backing up that far that there was any great encouragement to throw the stumps down.
Again, we see this one not really timed, hit into the ground and straight to Aravinda. Well, I really can't see the sense in that. If it hit the wickets, it would have been 2 runs.
Oh, that's a well bowled, really beat him in flight there. Dravid didn't really know what to do in the end, and I think probably finished up not even playing a shot.
Yeah, he's caught in 2 minds. Yeah, he's not sure whether to play back, and he fancies playing back a roll Dravid, but
oh, that's beautifully bowled.
That indeed was a very good delivery by Jayanta de Silva. Nice flight and imparting a great deal of spin, bringing the batsman forward and spinning away from him. Not able to smother it. So that's the type of spin that Jayanta de Silva is capable of imparting.
And this single will bring his half century. So 50 here for Navjot Sidhu. It's been a fine innings by him. And like we said earlier, he's done the hard work. It's a good opportunity for him here to really cash in.
A very good knock by Navjot Sidhu, but Certainly he's just done 25% of the work. A lot more work has to be done by him from India's point of view. His presence at the wicket, absolutely vital for them.
And this is taken on the full by Rahul Dravid and dispatched wide of mid-on for a boundary. So a boundary there to end the over for India, 65 for 1.
Jayanta De Silva was trying to give that ball air, faltering that time, over pitching, and Dravid making no mistake, hitting it wide of mid-on into the gap.
He'll look for 2 here, Dravid, and get it comfortably. It's 70 for 1. And this is nicely timed. He's found the gap on the offside. Long chase for Jayant De Silva. But the ball beats him to the boundary rope.
Beautifully stroked by Sidhu. Just a little bit of width, and Sidhu leaning into it, playing it into the gap, giving the fielder no chance whatsoever. Very nicely caressed into the gap.
Yes, he's not trying to hit it too hard. He's hit it on the up. Just timed it nicely. A good thing for Sidhu there. He got the placement right. You have to hurry here, Dravid. Slight misunderstanding there, but in the end, makes the single comfortably.
Smavanatapathy very quickly onto it, but Dravid had responded quickly enough despite the mix-up. And his throw going wide as well.
Short one this time. Doesn't get onto it. Dravid tried to hit it away in front of square leg, but again the pace showing that it's not that easy for the batsman either.
Yes, that ball didn't sit up as much as Dravid expected it to. I have to take that back a bit. Did rush on him though.
If the bowler can get the ball to perhaps drop and spin, he looks a little bit loose when he's doing it, but he tends to get there and hit the ball in the middle of the bat most of the time. This time he's back and short, and that's what the fielder is out there for. I'm not sure he's going to be able to cut it off though. So he's in no man's land really.
That's right, Gray. Silva dropping short there, enough time for the batsman to pick his spot and go through with it. Jayasuriya, who was in a position not being able to cut the anything played on either side of him because he's halfway and the halfway mark, and that brings 4 to Dravid. Short, enough time to pick his spot. This wicket really taking a toll on the bowling if they don't really keep the mark.
Oh, good start, Silly.
This time he finds the gap. Just a bit too full and a bit too wide from Chaminda Vas. Just the thing you don't want to do on a slow wicket like this. You can't afford to give the batsman a bit of room to work with. Sidhu takes the challenge. He doesn't mind coming down the wicket to the spinners. We saw him hit 2 or 3 balls over the infield before lunch, but that prompted Arjuna Ranatunga to drop the field back to a deep mid-on, and a deep mid-off went back to Muralitharan's bowling. Sidhu still quite happy to come down the wicket and hit the ball on the half volley and take the challenge to the bowler. Now he tries a short one, but this time the pace, the lack of it, allows Dravid to hit the ball in front of square leg. He didn't really time it. It was more of a bottom edge. Surya, the fieldsman, deep back with square leg, has to run all the way around to mid-wicket to field. Only the 2 runs. Well, there's an appeal. There seemed to be a double noise, but I think you'll find that the bat hit the back of the pad and then the ball would have hit the front of the pad. Umpire Steve Randall is pretty experienced. Raul Dravid, though, may have just had a moment where he was a little bit worried.
Yes, but he didn't commit himself to that stroke. He pushed his pad there. It's right through the pad, but there was a double noise. On the way back, wonder if it touched.
Well, that's something we haven't seen a lot of so far today, the quick single. I really think as it brings up the 100 for India, I really think they've got to push the ball around a lot more and try and work the ball into the gaps and pick up the singles.
And there's a great shot. Just a little bit too full again. Very wristy shot from Dravid, beautifully timed. Hasn't timed it all that well. Mind you, the wicket is not easy for timing, and he's just got his foot right to the pitch of this, and nice flowing stroke. And it just seems a little bit of intensity lacking. But this is a very good shot. Just beautifully timed and free flowing. Picked out the gap. Only two on the leg side, so just got it wide of the bowler and able to get it down to the boundary.
With those close fielders in, you're going to get a lot of appealing, as we have had already, when the ball is turning. A lot of bat and pad stuff. How close is the bat to the pad? That's a pretty poor effort, not the kind of effort we saw here from the Sri Lankan fielders last Saturday in the Pepsi Asia Cup final, when they were absolutely brilliant. That one really shouldn't have got through. He seemed to have it covered. He's a long way in the outfield, so he had plenty of time to get across, but in the end made a hash of it.
Yes, and you can see what happens here when you pitch too short. Just plenty of time to hit it away wherever he wanted to, and you can see fielder running straight at it. Should have given himself a bit more of an angle. Would have been able to cut it off, in fact, without even having to dive in the end. But pretty well struck by Sidhu. Timing was good on that occasion.
That is beautifully bowled. Just turned a little bit too much, that's all.
That is a magnificent delivery. Been flighting them up, drawing the batsman forward. Dravid not prepared to play a shot, and this one just pushed through very quickly, swinging in. In fact, very hard to tell how that missed the stumps.
Down he comes, not quite to the pitch. So Barry reading it pretty well spot on there. This is the thing with Sidhu, he doesn't like to be contained by the off-spin bowlers. Just feels that he can charge them at any time, hit them over the top.
That's nicely played by Dravid, taking the half volley and hitting it nicely into the vacant areas. Big gaps out on the offside, and Dravid making full use of it.
Well, that shows the importance of picking up the singles and rotating the strike, because that puts the pressure back on the bowlers, and then the frustration level can grow for the bowlers, and that's when they slightly over pitch or bowl one a bit too wide. And Dravid really quickly onto that. He's a fine player. I like the style of the young man. He plays the spinners well, he plays the quick bowlers well, and he's always prepared to play his shots.
Beautifully struck by Dravid. As soon as Muralidharan went short, Dravid was very quickly onto it. With the spin, pulled it away past the mid-wicket for 4.
He's in his 7th over in this spell, maybe just getting a little bit tired. It's very hot out there. And even for a spin bowler, it doesn't look like they're putting much into it, but there's a lot of emotional energy goes into it as well as the physical, and he's probably just getting a bit tired. Mid-on, backward square leg and a deep fine leg. Basically the field for Pushpak Amara, and he'll be bowling to Sidhu.
Oh, nicely driven by Sidhu on the offside. Waited for the ball to come into him and stroked it past the wide-ish mid-off. So 4 good runs for Sidhu.
Well, the run's starting to flow quite freely now for India, and this will be a worry for Arjuna Ranatunga. He knows that the quick bowlers are not going to get much joy now that the shine and the hardness has gone out of the ball. It's a fairly straight delivery. A bit of a loosener from Pushpakumara, and just full enough for Sidhu to be able to drive with the full flow of the bat. And he really is blossoming now as he moves along to 84.
Nicely played on the onside by Sidhu into the gap, picking up 2 for his trouble. So the Indians picking up runs at ease. Pushpakumara straying on the onside. Thick outside edge and into the gap. He gets 4 runs for it. Certainly not a very convincing shot, but Sidhu picks up 4. Nicely cut by Sidhu. Beats the fielder at point and the ball running down to the boundary. So it's 4 more runs to India, bringing India up to 144 for 1 at the end of the over. That's that beautiful shot by Sidhu, coming down very hard on that little delivery with a lot of width by Pushpakumara, punishing it past point for 4.
And he's on strike to Pushpakumara. Again, will pick up 3 runs here. Arvinder De Silva is not the quickest in the outfield. And this is the time when the Indian batsmen must put pressure on the Sri Lankan fielders, because it's hot and humid out there. The fielders must be tiring, as would the bowlers. And this is the time they can really cash in. And whipped away off his pads. Runs for the taking once Pushpakumara bowls in that direction. This will just cross the boundary line. So boundary to end the over. India 154 for 1.
And Mundas, there's enough turn there to concern the batsman.
Well, down the track comes Sidhu, and this should be it. A single to long off, bringing up his 100. A fine knock by the Indian opener. And India 155 for 1. Oh, that's a fine shot by Dravid. He's got his foot out there, right to the pitch of the ball, and found the gap in the offside.
Yes, that's a lovely flowing wristy shot from Dravid. Murali just trying to throw it up a little bit. He gave himself a little bit of room, Dravid. Saw the gap on the offside there, and he's just punished him away through that. That's a quality cricket shot. You won't see it played much better than that. Straight off the middle and beautifully timed into the gap. So
and that single bringing up his half century. You know, very, very consistent performer, Rahul Dravid. And again, another half century. And that smashed off the back foot. This will be the second boundary of the over for Dravid.
Track like this one, he's just got plenty of time to rock back, pick out his spot. And the 2 short infielders, no chance of stopping that one. You see, it's just short enough. Nice acrobatic display to get out the way. And just as well he did too, because that was very well struck.
Well, that's a similar line. This time he's put the bat onto it, and it goes all the way. Just got enough bat onto it to get it fine.
Straying down the leg side. Sidhu just helping it down towards the fine leg region. It's easy picking 4 for Sidhu. Muridharan, who has bowled 2 tight spells, he bowled 8 for 19 runs, 8 overs for 19, and 7 overs for 13 runs.
Pick the gap on the leg side, not a strong leg side field, the emphasis mainly on the offside. So a couple more there for Sidhu.
That was straying down towards the leg side. He just rolled his wrist round and placed it right between the 2 fielders, and 2 runs without a problem. So Sidhu is in a lot of comfort there. He's not being perturbed by much of the bowling at all.
Got him, got him. So that's the break that's needed. That's a good catch by Kelawitharana. Rather careless stroke from Sidhu. And that's the break that Sri Lanka wanted. What a good catch by the keeper. He's low to the ground in any case, and he took it really well.
Chaminda was persisting on that length. Saw Sidhu coming confidently and playing some of these drives, but on that occasion, he didn't push his leg right forward enough, and just got a thin edge down to the keeper, Kalawitharana, who took a very, very good catch low down to his right hand side. Was kept persisting on that. We saw a bit of movement for him earlier on away from the right hander, and on that occasion it did leave him, and Sidhu kept going through with the shot, standing on one position, did not really moving his foot forward, and paid the penalty. Away from his body, ball leaving him. I think he was growing, became too confident on that occasion.
Usually associate with Sachin Tendulkar, but that's the kind of shot you usually associate with him as he gets off the mark. The ball will just beat the fielder to the boundary. So Tendulkar off the mark with the boundary, and India 187 for 2.
Was, who's been keeping the ball up, on that occasion over pitching it slightly. Tendulkar getting over it and rolling it down, guiding it down towards the mid-wicket region for 4. So confident to play it on this wicket, which the ball doesn't really come on, but that was well timed by Tendulkar.
He'll get 4 more here. So he started off with 2 boundaries of Was.
So with Sri Lankans settling for a defensive field, just 1 slip, a lot of vacant spaces in that slip region. Tendulkar getting away with that outside edge. Sri Lankans should be looking in terms of attacking Tendulkar. Tendulkar still the new batsman.
Again played away on the onside. Should pick up a couple here. Oh, that's a glorious shot. Possibly the shot of the day.
What a shot by Tendulkar, just leaning onto it, and the ball racing to the boundary.
Now, this is the last ball of the previous over, and it's all class.
Certainly a shot that was really associated with Tendulkar and his class. Leaning onto it, and the ball picking that gap and speeding to the boundary, just not giving anyone a chance.
Just watch his head here, so still. Lovely follow through. And this is a fine shot by Rahul Dravid. He just plays the shot extremely well. Court footwork to get right back onto his stumps when he plays it. Another boundary now for the Indians.
So the Sri Lankans having a few problems. Muralidharan frustrated by the fact that Dravid was just smothering him, using his pad, dropping that slightly short, and Dravid picking it very quickly and hitting it past the bowler.
Oh, that's another lovely shot. He's just leant into that, and the ball's racing away to the fence.
Just see that elbow high as ever.
Well, looking him play this shot, you won't say he's in bad nick. Look how far forward that front foot comes when he plays it. Look at the front foot here now. It's a big stride forward. Oh, he's picked him up this time, over the infield, one bounce and over the ropes. Just stood where he was and hit it with the spin over mid-wicket.
Those vast vacant areas, the wide open spaces in the mid-wicket region, certainly very inviting for Tendulkar. And as soon as Muralidharan gave that ball a little bit of air, he was up to it, quickly picking it up and dispatching it into the vacant mid-wicket region.
In the air, what a way to go. Well, that doesn't happen very regularly. That's perhaps the turn of luck that Sri Lanka wanted. Slammed into the fielder in at that silly mid-off position, and the bowler alert enough to take the rebound. Indians, Dravid will know exactly the feeling as he goes back, because in fact in the Caribbean he was fielding there and took a blow on the shoulder. National.
Well, this is just a very short ball and absolutely smashed away. You'd have to be very, very unlucky to get out like that. And Rahul Dravid shows just how unlucky he feels he was, and he certainly was. He played a great hand, played quite beautifully with Sidhu, set up the platform, and India now 230 for 3.
Very unlucky indeed. Mohammad Azharuddin has come in. Dravid hitting that ball into the body of the silly point fielder Marvin Atupatu, and Jayasuriya taking the return catch. Now, I mentioned that the same thing happened when Dravid was in that position in a one-day international against the West Indies when India were there. He was fielding close under the bat. Courtney Brown, the wicketkeeper, hit the ball onto Dravid's shoulder, and Kumble took the return catch. So Dravid will know how it feels now to be out in that way. Well, the edge found. Azhar has certainly come out and started very positively, but that was a thick outside edge, could have gone anywhere. Well, certainly beaten there. Jayasuriya asked once, he asked twice, and got eventually the answer from umpire Katie Francis that it wasn't out, but he certainly deceived him.
And we see him just getting a little bit cautious here. I think he would have pushed that away before. That has turned, and
down the track, and he smashed that past mid-off. It was in the air, but no chance for that man. So consecutive boundaries here for the Indian captain.
Well, I think he'd confused quite a few people with the way he was going in the last few overs, and all of a sudden I think he's even frustrated himself. All of a sudden he's decided to come out of that shell, and he smashes this one away down the ground. He had a drink come out from the dressing room towards the end of last over, or perhaps the previous over, and maybe with it came a message. For goodness sake, Captain, get on with it. Well, he's getting on with it all right. The silly thing was that the way he was going before he went back into his shell, he could have been 65, 70 not out tonight and really have this game firmly in grasp.
And Tendulkar this time off the front foot. He's timed this even better. This will go all the way to the boundary rope. So good over this for the Indians so far.
We looked at Navjot Sidhu's batting chart earlier in the day when he'd been batting for quite a long time. We noticed that very few shots had been scored in the mid-wicket area. And again, it's the shot of a class player. We've had an engrossing contest.
Oh, that's a lovely piece of timing. A lovely shot to bring up his 50. Another boundary here to Tendulkar. And he's looking dangerous.
Well, it hasn't been easy for batsmen, but you've got to think of the bowlers as well. There's not much margin for error on a slowish wicket. The 10th boundary in his 50. That's a high percentage of boundaries. He doesn't really get this one in the middle of the bat. Just a little bit on the low side, but he still placed it so well and the timing impeccable. He really is a class player.
This time off the back foot. This will be another boundary. Third of the over. And Tendulkar here suddenly scoring runs in a hurry.
Well, this little session can take the day right away from Sri Lanka. They've toiled manfully. Have a look at that. 3-4-0-4-4. All the boundaries coming to this man. And he gets boundaries easily. It's not a particularly bad ball, but he's very quickly into position, and the timing and placement, quite incredible.
Oh, what a shot. Boundary number 4. No chance for the fielder to chase that one. So very, very good over this for the Indians. 268 for 3.
The final ball of the last over. We have a look at Sachin Tendulkar's 4th boundary for that over. It wasn't a particularly bad over from Chaminda Vaas, just slightly over pitched on that occasion, slightly wide on one other occasion. Probably one bad ball out of the lot, but such a good player. You can't afford to be slightly over pitched or slightly wide. Just give him a little bit of room, and that's the damage he can do.
That's a bread and butter shot for Mohammad Azharuddin. No problem in dispatching that to the square leg fence.
It's a very, very strong player on these pads. Whether it's pitched up or short, he can work it away with ease. And the thing is, a player of his class doesn't have to try and compete with a player like Sachin Tendulkar, because if he gets bad balls, he'll put them away as well. So this last 20 minutes has been quite brutal for Sri Lanka.
And that's number 6. This time to third man.
Well, I'm not sure whether Sachin Tendulkar mightn't have bluffed Arjuna Ranatunga into taking the second new ball. He went into his shell. We thought that maybe he'd got the time wrong, but I'm sure he couldn't have done that, thinking the stumps was at 5 o'clock. He must have just been waiting for the second new ball and perhaps hoping that Arjuna Ranatunga would take it before stumps and that the new ball would come onto the bat more quickly and the runs would flow faster. Well, I don't know whether that was his intention or not, but that's what's happened.
That's in the air. That really surprised Tendulkar. He'll get a boundary for this. It wasn't really in control of the shot.
And this ball bouncing rather unusually from just short of a length. Finished up getting the shoulder of the bat. Even with a regulation gully fieldsman, it probably wouldn't have gone anywhere near the catching fieldsman in that position. The ball racing away to the boundary, but an unconvincing shot there from Tendulkar. A good delivery.
So that's the end of the first day's play. Tendulkar 65, Azharuddin 18. India winning the toss, deciding to bat first, making a good score, 280 for 3. Navjot Sidhu getting 100 for the Indians. Rahul Dravid also playing a fine knock. 111 to Sidhu, 69 to Rahul Dravid. He was unfortunate to be out cotton bowled by Jayasuriya when he hit the fielder at silly point and the ball went back to Jayasuriya. But Tendulkar has looked special here today. 65, just 92 deliveries. Azharuddin looks to be in good touch as well. He's on 18. And this is a very good score by the Indians. As far as Sri Lankan bowling was concerned, it was hard work for their bowlers, especially the new ball bowlers Vas and Pushpa Kumara. Both picked